You're watching Lansdowne Raw, the voice of the fans. Join me, Martin Prendergast and Conor McAvoy as we catch up with all the ins and outs of Irish football over a very busy weekend. And we want to hear from you, the Raw faithful, tonight on Lansdowne Raw, and it's live.
People are going to be traumatized with that music.
They certainly are. Right, welcome to Lansdowne Raw. Really great to see Conor this evening, where we're going to catch up on all the ins and outs, as I said, of Irish football over the busy weekend. The League of Ireland's back as well. I hope everyone has had a very enjoyable watch of that over the weekend. The boys will be doing a podcast coming out tomorrow, just covering the League of Ireland, which is one of the new initiatives of Lansdowne Raw. So make sure you do give us a follow and a subscribe, and obviously give us a like as well of this show. We want to hear from you, the Raw faithful, this evening. How did you find the League of Ireland start? How have you found anything of interest over the weekend with Irish football? We're going to be covering OBIG as well, which is where we cover all the Irish players and how they got on over the weekend, including the debut, of course, for Evan Ferguson for West Ham. And we'll also cover a little bit about Shamrock Rovers in action in Europe during the week. So a very good weekend for Irish football. Historic, I would say, as well, with a League of Ireland game at the Aviva Stadium, 33,000, record-breaking attendance at that. So that was fantastic to see as well. So we want to hear from you, the Raw faithful. Do let us know in the comments that you're watching. Make sure you also, it would be really appreciated if you could send a quick link of this show to your friends and family and say, look, subscribe to the lads. This is a really good show, and let us know what you think about it all. How you doing, Conor? You well?
I'm great, Brandy. I'm after a very enjoyable weekend of Irish football, with lads doing well abroad, lads doing well at home. Shamrock Rovers pulling off a huge result in Europe, and some history being made on the pitch and technically off the pitch with spectators. So Irish football is at a high at the moment that it hasn't been on over the last couple of years. So we're starting to build up a bit of positivity, and I'm starting to really get excited again. Well, to be honest, I think everyone knows I'm probably the most positive man about Irish football. I never really say a negative word, but it's been a very good positive weekend.
Yeah, no, brilliant. As I said there in the introduction, I think, yeah, fantastic to see League of Ireland back in action. Not without a few little technical hitches, of course, a power cut and stuff, but it wouldn't be Irish football without that. But yeah, fantastic. I thought it was to see get the way and lots of goals. And I mean, the game, I was obviously watching the shells a little bit, and Jesus, there was like, as I messaged us in the group, didn't I? I said, Jesus, this is unbelievable, the amount of goals going in here really early, and it was a fantastic game in the end, I suppose. We do want your obviously interaction this evening. Let us know your comments. Have you were at any games, of course, the League of Ireland as well? And as Conor said there, we're big fans of Irish football. We know the FAI watch us and enjoy the show as well. They're not beyond criticism, and they don't mind us covering the League of Ireland and everything else that goes with it. But we have a little bit of news this evening, obviously, with the women's game coming up on Friday in Tala. We've also seen a bit of negative feedback, I suppose. This story's still ongoing with how Colin Healy and Eileen Gleeson were treated, because I know the women are obviously in camp now for them, those key games coming up for them in the Nations League. So Tony O'Donoghue was in town today and chatting around with Aoife Mannion, quite scathing a little bit. We'll cover that, of course, in a little bit more detail later on. But also, we do want to reach out to the Raw faithful. We want to get you more involved in the pod. If you're interested in writing for the for Lansdowne Raw, we've got lots of outlets, of course. We've got our own website, and we're going to just play this ad to you now. So we want to hear from you, the Raw faithful. And here's David to let you know all about it.
How's it going? David Dunn here from Lansdowne Roar, and I am calling out to anybody who wants to write about Irish football. That's right. If you want to write for Lansdowne Roar at lansdowneroar.ie and join our fantastic writers group over there, this is a great opportunity for you. It is a voluntary position, no experience required. However, all we ask is for you to be passionate and consistent, and also be able to string 2 cents together. Sorry, Martin, that leaves you out. It can be any level of Irish football that you want to talk about: men's, women's, seniors, juniors, League of Ireland, school league, anything at all that you want to express yourself about, this is for you. If you are an aspiring sports journalist, it's also a fantastic opportunity for you. We do have a wide reach. Of course, we have to stream every week, as you're probably watching this on now. So it's a great way to get yourself exposed in a positive way. If you want to get in contact, pod@lansdowneroar.ie. Also Connor @lansdowneroar.ie, David @lansdowneroar.ie, Martin @lansdowneroar.ie. Or you can head over to our Facebook, our Instagram, or our Twitter, and you can contact us directly. Not a problem, and we'll get you sorted there. Apply below now.
There you go. Happy with the ad
Happiest
there,
I've ever
Connor?
seen. That's the happiest I've ever seen that, Matt. It's
Yeah,
maybe it was just because me and you weren't there, but
exactly.
he'd love to take a little
No,
shot at you there. I didn't like that. No,
of
Brendan.
course he does.
Oh.
He always has a go at me, that lad, you know, but he does know that I'm the true voice of the sensible one on the show. Obviously, you bring the knowledge of the young lads coming through and stuff. I can talk all day about old players and stuff like that. But yeah, look, generally though, like, you know, you're well, Connor, you're looking forward to it. You know, another international window coming upon us, only 3 or 4 weeks out. I know that just talking with my Risk London head on as the chairman of that fine club, you know, we've just put in our application for the game in Bulgaria away. So all the applications are closed now. I think we're pretty confident. Well, we've had confirmation already that there'll be a good travelling contingent going over to Bulgaria. Everyone's got confirmations of tickets for that, so that's really good as well. And you know, looking forward to the home game as well on the Sunday. So you know, the squad will be announced soon. We're going to cover OBIG as well, where we will focus on the players who played over the weekend. Some notable little bits we'll discuss. Matt Doherty done a fantastic interview, I thought, off the ball that you sent over to me. We've also seen, you know, lots of speculation of players who are perhaps, you know, looking for a call up for the first time. It'll be interesting now these next couple of weeks, of course, just to see who John O'Shea and Heimer are looking at, and if they're on any scouting missions. I'm sure you'll be following where they're watching, who they're watching, and we'll try and get obviously that information out to the Raw faithful as well. But if you do think of anybody who you think will be in the Ireland squad, if you want to give your views of you think Heimer needs to look at this guy, or you know, a player that you think has just been overlooked, do let us know in the comments. We want to hear from you. It's an exciting time now in Irish football. Looking forward to the squad. First games of our of 25. So looking forward to that. So, Connor.
Speaking of Heimer.
Speaking of Heimer. Go on, Em. I'll let you lead in with this.
I think it's probably the big story for Irish football over the weekend. I think it was a bit of a negative to take away from what was a historic day for Irish football, over 33,000 at the Aviva to witness what was a great occasion. The match itself wasn't the greatest match of all, I'm not going to lie to you, but a few very impressive performances, especially on the both side. Rovers seemed to struggle a bit, but no, it was, I think everyone was a bit taken aback by Stephen Bradley's comments about Heimer after, saying that he had speaking to Rovers players after their run in Europe, that they needed to leave the League of Ireland, that they needed to leave Rovers to improve their chance of making the Irish first team, which was, I think, to everyone that is not totally biased, probably like Stephen Bradley is, it was a bit of a mad statement, because I think all the journalists in the room at the time were taken back a bit. I do remember Bradley said himself in the interview, or on the questioning, that he was shocked that none of the journalists picked up on it, because in fairness, I don't think it's the craziest thing that Heimer could have said, that lads like Neil Ferrugia, in particular, I'd imagine that was the key suspect, left to go to Barnsley. I know Barnsley from Rovers isn't really a huge step up, like Barnsley are decent, but playing for Barnsley in League One is not going to get him in the Ireland senior squad. But I can imagine that was kind of the thing of, he has 6 good months at Barnsley, he's a good year at Barnsley, he'll get a move to a championship club, which would put him right in the picture for Ireland, which at the moment Heimer doesn't think League of Ireland players are at the standard. But I think that's just more a reflection of the way we're going at the moment, Martin, because the squad's constantly getting better. The squad depth in particular is, we're leaving lads out of the squad who actually are in decent runs, are literally are good clubs, that you could say if they came into squad, we wouldn't be too phased how much the squad level would drop off. But I do, like, as much as I love the league, and as much as I think, like, what is wrong with a player having ambitions to go and play in England? It's not even the football side of things. Everyone wants to make as much money as possible when playing football. And if you're going from, say, for example, $2,000 a week to $6,000 a week playing in England, are you going to turn that down? I don't think so. Like, especially when you have agents in your ear, you have people around you that want you to succeed and make them money at the end of the day. I think it's very unfair to do it. Like, there's multiple lads in Rovers that like the Josh Honahan, I think, is someone that could benefit the Ireland squad. Dylan Watts is a superb player. Jack Byrne, if he could stay fit. But it's a very, I can understand where Bradley's coming from, because we want the league to grow. We want it to get to the next level. But I don't have anything wrong with Heimer's thinking that lads should try and better themselves, because no matter how good the League of Ireland gets, and we get to a stage where League of Ireland is competing, playing in the Premier League, playing in the Championship will always have a massive lure to it that we can't deny.
Yeah, I mean, just to give context to this, because some people might not have seen this, and it was a bit weird, because it was actually something that Heimer said in December, and you know, he basically said in mid-December, in the wake of Rovers securing progress in the league phase of the Europa Conference League, he suggested that exposure could see some players move on. I think that's just natural, as you said there. But Bradley's interpreted the remarks as Helgson saying players would have to leave to play international football. At the time, Heimer said it would be easier to pick them if they are playing regularly before the national team comes together. But I'm pretty sure a lot of teams in Europe are watching them. Who are these guys going this far, doing this good in the tournament? So probably there is a lot of scouting on those players at the moment. So hopefully they will get a career change from this success. The Rovers boss, 2 months on and shortly after his side's Dublin derby defeat to Bohemians in front of the League of Ireland record crowd of 33,208, took aim at those comments. We have got an international manager telling my players to leave to have a chance to play for Ireland, blasted Bradley. Yeah, so there's obviously a little bit, probably disappointing to kind of see it in the wake of like a fantastic weekend and stuff, but that's how he obviously feels. Yeah,
I think the biggest disappointment, Martin, and just to jump in, sorry again, is these lads are pushing to go away. I know England has the money to it, and it's the lure of playing in England, but Neil Ferrugia could play in a top league in Europe, and like Dylan Watts could as well. Josh Honahan could. Like, is League One the level you want to go to if you're leaving Ireland? I know the money and Asians want to take players there, but I think Heimer himself, because of him managing in Iceland and managing Icelandic players, he would have seen Icelandic players doing very well in the top tier in Iceland and getting moves to some of the top countries across Europe. And obviously Premier League is to go for everyone, but if not Premier League, they'd go to Ligue 1, they'd go to Germany, they'd go to Spain. But going to League One was not the right step, and it's not Heimer's fault then that Neil Ferrugia's contract was running out and he left. Like, that is not a problem. Like, we need to make sure these clubs are getting these players on deals, that they're not getting their contracts ran down, which it can happen at any level. We've seen it at the top level of football. But I do think you can see both sides to it. But like, we want these lads, when these lads are going, as much as it's handy to see lads playing in England, if they're going to England to play in League One, League Two, where it's just really money related, it's not for the standard of football. Yeah, maybe they're trying to develop themselves or work up the English pyramid, but would they not be better off going to a Germany and even an Austria, a Sweden, a Denmark, where you go play for example, go play for Copenhagen, where you're playing in the Champions League regular. Obviously, they're a very, very good side, but like, there's nothing to say these lads can't go and test themselves to that sort of level where lads are going. When, for example, you get a proper sell-on, you sell a player to Denmark, you'll get a very good sell-on clause, and we've seen the amount of money clubs in Scandinavia make off players and sales. I believe it was in January, the Scandinavian countries blown every other country out of the water really with sales. So no, I just think the career path that Heimer wants these lads to go on is not a Barnsley, it's not a Grimsby, it's not a League One or League Two, because if you're going to League Two over League of Ireland, I think you need to have a look at yourself, unless it's really money related. But no, that's just my point of view on it, Martin.
Yeah, no, it's interesting though what you say. Like, you know, we want the profile of these players to obviously increase, and that will get them attention. And obviously Shamrock Rovers doing so well in Europe, bringing attention again, bringing a higher profile to the League of Ireland, of course. And even, you know, just seeing lots of kind of the interaction I think on social media with it being the opening weekend, some great initiatives. I know you spoke about on the League of Ireland podcast that we do now. You know, even the Guinness shirt. I know I wasn't on the pod about that, but I couldn't. I was thinking I'm actually part supporting. There's no way via my support of Guinness. I'm basically promoting both there. But yeah, look, I've seen actually someone, I know the League of Ireland rivalry, of course, is there, but someone said they've got more jerseys than they have trophies,
yes.
which I thought was quite funny. But they do some amazing shirts, and we're big fans of obviously the old classic football shirts on here as well. But yeah, we do want to hear from you, the Raw faithful. Let us know, of course, if you agree with Connor, Stephen Bradley. Let's have your views on
Martin,
his
you haven't
comments.
told us. Who do you think was right in the situation? We want to hear your opinion from someone who's a lot more neutral on it than I would be.
Well, I think he's obviously really annoyed Stephen Bradley, the fact he's let it go 2 months to raise the kind of issue, I suppose. And is that being said behind closed doors at all and things like that? I think Heimer's right in the sense that, we want to raise the profile of the players. I've got no problem with them moving anywhere where they want to bet themselves and get more money. That's just football. It's a business overall. And it's probably, none of the lads have gone, have they? They're there. They're in contracted, I suppose, some of them with their League of Ireland teams. So I think, the comments, I don't think were I didn't think there was anything wrong with them. I think it's just being very, very honest, Heimer. We want that honesty from football managers. I think now we see a lot of it with Amron at Man United, don't we? And Ange at Tottenham and things like that. So, I just think when he's asked a question, Heimer, give his honest view on it. And it's not, I don't really think it is his job to really promote Irish football in the sense of that League of Ireland. I think you'll see him at games. He's based in Ireland now. So he'll be looking at players, of course, but ultimately he's got a bigger job to keep an eye on the players who are, he's getting criticised. If he's at League of Ireland games, for example, when he's not going over to England to watch lads who are actually probably going to be the kind of spine of the squad, I suppose, he'll be criticised for that. So it's a difficult one for him.
Yeah, and Martin, thing is, he's on a 2-year contract. He's come in to win now, to get us to a tournament.
Yeah.
He probably looks at, because Neil Perugia is the big example, he probably looks at Neil Perugia, what he's done in Europe, and he thinks, this lad could come into this Ireland squad. We're missing someone that could play, because Perugia can play really anywhere. But say, for example, playing at left back, and we're looking at, he's thinking, well, Perugia could really benefit our squad. He could improve it, but he needs to be playing at a higher level.
Yeah.
And he's probably saying to him, I'm only here for 2 years. I want to have the best possible squad. I think you can improve our squad, but we want you playing at the highest level possible. So you're not coming from a lower standard of football compared to England, for example, or playing in, like, when he's coming into an international environment, he's not getting the shock of his life, being like, oh my God, I've never experienced this level and intensity before. So I think it's just a win now attitude from Heimer, which obviously football is played in the present, and we want to improve in the future, and we want the League of Ireland, because without the League of Ireland improvement, Irish football won't improve itself. So I just think Heimer's in the win now mentality, which you cannot blame him, because he's on a 2-year deal and he's here to win matches and get us to a World Cup in 2026.
Yep, exactly. I agree with that completely. I mean, that's the pressure he's on now. His job is not to develop the League of Ireland and the players there and stuff. Promote them, of course, and let us know what to think. Let's get us your views then. And as well, while you're here, we've got 592 watching at the moment, increasing every minute that we're on, which is fantastic. But please do make sure most interactive Irish football podcast out there. We do want to hear from you this evening, of course, and we'll get to your comments later on. Right, should we go through OBIG? We'll go for that.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, right, let's go for it. Right, so we just got OBIG is where we cover all the Irish footballers who are eligible for Ireland and have basically the mainstay of the senior squad at the moment. Some of them will obviously qualify for the under-21s as well, but we're going to just go through them now, and we go through position by position. So goalkeepers, defenders, midfield, and attackers. So we're going to focus first of all with the goalkeepers and how they got on over the weekend. So Caoimhín Kelleher, unused sub for Liverpool as they beat Wolves. Mark Travers, 90 minutes loss versus Watford for Middlesbrough. Max O'Leary, 90 minutes in a 1-1 draw Cardiff City. And Josh Keeley, 90 minutes in a 3-2 win versus Lincoln. Gavin Bazunu, 90 minutes, 2-1 loss versus KRC Genk. Anything notable with the goalkeepers? I know, like, just talking there about like the Middlesbrough situation, I didn't realise they lost 4 on the bounce. And there's a little bit of Steve. I've seen Steve Gibson said, well, I know you're probably very worried. We'll come on to Finn Azaz later on, your boy. But, I've seen Steve Gibson has given his backing to Michael Carrick there. I mean, I thought they were doing quite well, and I didn't really realise that they've kind of fallen off a cliff a little bit.
Yeah.
But
thing is, they're not
interesting.
they're not that far off the playoffs. Like, it's 1-2 wins and they're back in the playoffs. Like, it's very tight at the moment. Like, we see Bristol City, for example, are right in the playoff race, and I don't think come the end of the season I don't think they're a playoff team from watching them quite regularly. But even like just on the keepers, Bazunu is struggling a bit so far. But as I said in last week's show, I don't really care for the first week or two whether he's struggling. Obviously, we want to play well. The main thing with Gavin at this stage is playing regular minutes and getting football back in his legs, because it's after being out for so long, it's naturally going to be a tough way of bringing himself back into football. And like, no matter how poorly he does for the first 2 games, first 3 games, 4 games, it's about getting rhythm in his legs and getting him. Obviously, you don't want him to lose confidence, which is the worst thing for a goalkeeper. But I think he's mentally strong enough that even if he makes a couple of not howlers, but things he expects himself to see, he will. But I've faith in him that he will get back to his best before the end of the season in Belgium.
Yeah, and I'm hopeful that Gavin will be in the squad, in March, picked in a few weeks' time, and we'll see him there. I think it would be wise of Heimer to bring him in anyway, even if he wasn't 100% fit, just to be around the squad, because he's definitely going to be one of our future goalkeepers, like in the squads. So yeah, and just to kind of feel a little bit loved in it. I know that sounds probably a little bit pathetic, actually, thinking that they have to feel loved, but I think that's an important thing, and it's very Irish, I think, from us of what we do. And I know the women's team actually do it quite a bit, which we'll come on and focus on a little bit later when we talk about their obviously leading to their Nations League campaign beginning next week. Right, we're going to go on to the defenders. Right, so the defender, Seamus Coleman, not in the squad for Everton this week. Darragh O'Shea, 90 minutes in a 1-1 draw versus Aston Villa for Ipswich Town. Nathan Collins, 90 minutes in a 1-0 win versus West Ham for Brentford. Liam Scales, unused sub for Celtic. Shane Duffy, 90 minutes, 1-1 draw versus Hull for Norwich. Mark McGuinness, 90 minutes in a 1-0 loss versus Sheffield United. Callum O'Dowda, 90 minutes in a 1-1 draw versus his former club, Bristol City. Matt Doherty, 90 minutes and 2-1 loss versus Liverpool for Wolves. And Jake O'Brien, 90 minutes at right back for a 2-1 win versus Crystal Palace. Ryan Manning, 5 minutes and a 3-1 loss versus Bournemouth for Southampton. And Andrew Omobamidele, 60 minutes taken off, 2-0 win versus Lens. And Robbie Brady, he's still injured at the moment. Jimmy Dunn, 90 minutes, right back, 4-0 win versus Derby County. John Egan, 90 minutes and 1-1 draw versus Norwich for Hull City. Aaron Cashin, unused sub for Brighton. And Anselmo Garcia McNulty, 90 minutes, 1-1 draw versus Herenveen. And Will Ferry, not in the squad, Dundee United. And James Abankwah, 90 minutes, centre-back, 1-0 win versus Middlesbrough. So, just on the defenders there, Connor, we saw a very interesting interview, I think, post-match with Off the Ball. One of a kind of divisive character, I suppose, in Irish football, Matt Doherty, but I thought he spoke fantastically well in that. Well worth catching it. We will share it on our socials, of course, on Twitter, Lansdowne Raw. But spoke very, very well, I thought, and saying how he's kind of relished the players getting so much playing time now with Wolves, being trusted, getting minutes in the legs, seeing himself very much as a senior pro now. I think you spoke about Bazunu's strong mentality there. I think Matt Doherty demonstrates a lot of that as well. Like I said, a bit of a divisive character, Irish football. People kind of blame him for things sometimes, and he has had some atrocious performances, to be honest, for Ireland. He's not really delivered as often as we wanted to see, but he just seems quite a laid-back character. He can take it, he says, and I thought it was quite admirable, actually, how he kind of said, he's 33, he'd rather get the grief from fans or media than one of the young lads in the squad. So, what do you think of
that? No, I thought I was actually very impressed with it. It seemed that nothing phases him, which is the big thing I took away from him. It's like he's got a lot of abuse over the last couple of months, including people on this podcast. I won't name a certain name, but no, he's took a lot of abuse, and obviously, so he has had some poor performances. But he spoke very well, and like even in terms of the Ireland squad, he seemed up to date in terms of saying that right back. He's like, well, he seems always like he'd made a joke, and it seems everyone's playing right back these days. So he knows, like Jake O'Brien and obviously Darryl Shea doesn't always play right back, but he has played there for club and country. I know Obama obviously he went off injured the weekend. Hopefully it's nothing serious. But no, it seems that we have options at right back all of a sudden, but it seems they're all centre backs playing at right back these days. But Doherty's been playing very well of late. He's popped up with a goal here and there. He's defensively been very solid, playing on the right of a back three, which seems to suit him of using it, because the thing is, it's all his football brain and his football technical ability has never let him down. He's always been on point in terms of his ability, and he knows the game very well. But I think it's just always a thing of work rate, and when he gives the ball away, and as he said himself, his style of play makes it look like he's not trying, when even if he is trying. So no, he spoke very well, and he took accountability, in fairness, for stuff he's done. He said he's done stuff wrong, and he knows he has competition for that place in the country. And it'll be interesting now in March to come, because Heimer said, and I don't know if it was November, he was dropped, and saying that we've decided that we aren't going to have Seamus and Matt in the same squad again. So it'll be interesting because can you drop Seamus Coleman from an Ireland squad as our captain? I don't know if he's fully fit, but it's interesting now to see what March will look like for the right back position.
Yeah, I thought he did speak really well, and I think he's quite clever, Matt Doherty. He's very laid back. Nothing seems to faze him, and I think he's done a few social media posts where he said, he's probably self-effacing in a way that he's kind of having a joke at himself, but it didn't go down well.
Mark, I think just one minute. You took that badly. I think you thought he was a lot stupider than what he thought when he put up that sarcastic thing saying 45 of my best. I think he was taking accountability that he played terrible, and he was making a sarcastic joke, which in fairness I took it as the lad know he played bad and he's sarcastically putting, and if anyone got fazed by that, there's something wrong going on there, because my point is that he was terrible.
Yeah, look, I think he'll admit when he plays poorly. I know that, right? But at the same time, I think he's very good with the media with that. I think even back to Martin O'Neill having a bit of a spat with him when he was quite critical of Martin O'Neill's tenure with Ireland, saying we didn't need to do much and stuff like that. And then obviously Martin O'Neill called him a prick on a voice note or whatever it was. But I think he's quite clever with that, and I think what he's done with this interview, like a 5-minute interview with Off the Ball in the kind of the zone afterwards, of a game where Wolves did very well in that game as well. Let's be honest, he looked quite good as well, quite solid, and he has been playing well. I think he's definitely going to be in that squad in March. Whether he's good enough to start for us and Heimer goes with that, I don't know. But he was very clever how he reminded Heimer and Irish fans really that he's a defender first and foremost, and he is good at defending, and he emphasized that an awful lot in that interview. I am a defender, because I think he probably been a bit unfair on him over times. Obviously compared with Seamus Coleman, can they play together was a question for a long time as well. Played on the left as well before, so he's done that for Ireland when he's been asked, and he's played well. I remember that Portugal game away, where he famously did very well that night. But he has upset Irish fans and people, and then when he was left out, how he felt insulted and things like that. That kind of posed a lot of questions for Irish fans as well. But so I thought he's done a little bit there, I think, to redeem himself. But it will come back to performances. That will be it, and the effort on the pitch. And yeah, he does have that lazy gait of a run in a sense, technically, when he's on the pitch, which doesn't look as if he's busting the gut to get back, and then we conceded. I think he's been unfortunate with that as well. But, I thought he spoke really well. So I do expect him to be obviously there in March. But yeah, look, a few comments coming in as well on defenders and stuff. I'll actually jump into one of them now. Just on Jimmy Dunn. This is a comment from Pat Kremen. Jimmy Dunn should be on the team. Centre back or right back. He's playing great at QPR. He's been a player, I think, who has, hit and miss. Like he's done really well for QPR at times. Just doesn't seem to be fancied though for Ireland, does he?
Yeah, Martin. I just think he's just very unlucky that now he's in his best last 18 months since Marty Sequences has came in at QPR. He's gone to another level as a right back and centre back. To be honest with you, Pat, I don't think he's anywhere near the level for Ireland. To be honest, I don't think he's a top championship centre back when he plays centre back. But right back, he's absolutely brilliant. And But I think just the problem is that Jake O'Brien is now playing at right back in the Premier League. Matt Doherty's back in form. Darrell Shea has played at right back for us. Has Seamus Coleman, if he's fit, will obviously be picked because he's Seamus Coleman. So it's just, who do you leave out? Like, as much as I want Jimmy Dunn put in the squad because he's been excellent at right back, I don't know who you leave out, because it's just, there's starting to be more options there. And when lads are playing at the highest level or playing the top 5 league, they're never going to be left out of an Ireland squad. It's always going to be, because the Championship, as much as people like to say it's a good league, but it's not a great league. There's a lot of players that go to the Championship, and if you're a technically gifted footballer, the game can bypass you, because I watch a lot of Championship, and there's a lot of teams that do not play pretty football. So no, but Jimmy Dunn, in fairness, he's in a good QPR team, and he's been a standout for the last 18 months. It's just, who do you drop?
Yeah, that's the problem for him getting in there, isn't it? And he's been like the kind of periphery of the squad and called up and then released and things like that. And you're looking at a bit of renaissance there. Lads actually playing. We've had horrific injuries to centre backs in the past, but like Duffy's playing now, Egan's back playing now. Probably not expecting them to be first choice in that. But Omar Bamadeli, obviously McGuinness came in and played well against England at Wembley, and it just is pushing for that position. And
Aaron Cash comes back in.
Yeah, Aaron Cash. But the other one as well, just the technical proficiency of these players. Like, I remember when Darrell Shea played left back. I mean, you can play centre backs all over the back four. That's just what seems to be happening now with football. As it modifies it. I mean, it's just crazy, really. But we're in a good position defensively, I think. Right, we're going to go on to the midfielders. So, Josh Cullen, 90 minutes in a 0-0 draw versus Preston North End for Burnley. Jason Knight, 90 minutes in a goal, 1-1 versus Cardiff. Jason Malumbi, 90 minutes in a 1-1 draw versus Millwall for West Brom. Finn Azaz, not in the squad for Middlesbrough, who lost for the 4th time in a row, I think it was. Andy Moran, 90 minutes, 3-1 win versus Swansea. Jack Taylor, 1 minute for 1-1 draw versus Aston Villa. Jamie McGrath is injured at the moment with Aberdeen. Will Smallbone, cousin Will, 56 minutes, 3-1 loss versus Bournemouth. Alan Brown playing. He's actually on the bench tonight for Sunderland.
Yep.
Mark Sykes, 45 minutes in a 1-1 draw versus Cardiff for Bristol City. Luke O'Connell, 90 minutes, 2-1 loss versus Huddersfield. And Bosun Lowell, unused sub for Stoke City. We've got a bit of news on him, though. And Connor Coventry, 74 minutes in a 1-0 loss versus Birmingham. Rocco Vata, 26 minutes, 1-0 win versus Middlesbrough. And John Joe Patrick Finn, unused sub for Stade Rennes. The midfielders.
Where did Dave get 0-1 minutes? I know, where's this trend coming from with Jack Taylor? And he's made a mistake, which we always like to point out. Finn Azaz played 30 minutes for Middlesbrough against Watford. Where he got that he wasn't in the squad either. And just actually, we've got to mention that game, how good James Abanko was. He's absolutely loved by Watford's fans. He's playing all over the back four for them. He's been even a back five. And just to jump in there, like, he's a player that's now fully on the radar for the Ireland senior team, because he's just that good, and he's a young, brilliant talent coming through. But you know what? But like, I don't know, Finn Azaz as Finn Azaz is leader of the fan club, he's been very poor as of late, and hopefully it's just a slump, because we see players go through slumps, and like, the fact is he was playing so well that he was the best player in the Championship for one stage, that it's so hard to keep that form up. And just on the rest of midfielders, Will Smallbone's first start since August, I believe. We only played 55 minutes, is not a good sign when you get taken off before the 60-minute mark, but probably good to see him get minutes in the legs. And John Joe Patrick Finn, unused sub after being a starter for the last 4 games, is not a great thing to happen, is it? I know they were 1-0 down and they brought on more attacking options, but you'd still like to think that he would have come on after 60 minutes.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, look, we want to hear from you, the Raw Faithful, as well. Let us know your comments. Who did you see over the weekend that you thought, yep, this is someone that Ireland should be keeping an eye on, or that you were very impressed with watching it on? I know you probably were all watching it. The League of Ireland on the League of Ireland Pass, but and like Connor catches up with lots of football. I don't know where he watches it, although I don't know if it's Sky's subscription or wherever it is. But you know, seems to be watching it all over,
Sky doesn't
flicking
have all the
channels.
football.
And
I just have a subscription to
no,
every single
yeah,
outlet. I pay thousands a
exactly.
month for all these places.
Yeah, each club's channel. You subscribe to all of them. So yeah, do leave us your comments. We want to hear from you, the Raw faithful. Let us know. Interaction tonight is the key. Boasting the well though, just a quick one on him.
I played 90 minutes for Stoke 21s tonight. I'm a bit disappointed about what's going on there at the moment. That the way Mark Robbins is just not playing him when actually Stoke have won the last couple of games. But it's just such a waste having him on the bench because he's just such a talent, and as you know, he could be an unbelievable player for club and country. And at this stage, he should be playing that Stoke side. And I think he's an example of probably of a lad that could have won abroad. He had interest from I think it was Salzburg wanted him. They were heavily linked to him in the summer, but obviously agents and Stoke and money and probably took him there. But 90 minutes tonight was probably his first 90 minutes since he last played for Fleetwood, which would have been probably before May because the League One seasons finishes quite early. So no, it was good to see him get 90 minutes tonight, but hopefully that's the last minutes he plays for 21s because I'm just sick of seeing him there because he should be fighting for an Ireland first team spot at this stage, and seeing him is just doing my head in because he's just such a good player. And Stoke just need to throw him in at this stage because it's not like he's a young player that's not proven in men's football. He's shown last year for Fleetwood towards the end of the season, or the second half of the season, that he was the best midfielder in League One. And if you're the best midfielder in League One, surely you can play for Stoke City, who are fighting for their lives in the Championship.
Yeah, I agree completely with that. And another player I like seeing scoring a goal, Jason Knight. Fantastic to see him scoring a goal for a City. A player I think, you know, Ireland a little bit messed around with him. You know, he's Mr. Consistent. I think played everywhere for Ireland, and you know, played fantastically well. Man of the match. I think he's almost got as many man of the match awards as Didsey. Someone can correct me on that, of course.
Well, he doesn't have the same percentage rate.
Well, probably scored more goals for Ireland from midfield than Didsey.
Has he?
That's a fact. I would guess so.
I know he's definitely scored one. He scored one away, didn't he?
Luxembourg, yeah.
Yeah. No, he scored any more than that.
So he's equaled in then.
But his man of the match percentage rate isn't as good.
Well, but playing all over them positions. That's it. Anyway, expected goals. I'm not sure what the stats would be on that. Right, we're going to go on to the attackers. Hopefully, we'll have some prolific Ireland strikers that we're talking about now. And no doubt there'll be a Didsey go on this, won't there? Okay, OBIG forwards. Here we go. Evan Ferguson, 45 minutes. First game for West Ham. Troy Parrott playing on Thursday for AZ Alkmaar. Adam Eder, 85 minutes of the goal and a 3-0 win versus Dundee. Tom Cannon not in the squad for Sheffield United. Sammy Schmonik sadly still injured. Brilliant player last year in the Championship, of course. Festi Abasele injured as well. And Casey McAteer not in the squad for Leicester City. Mikey Johnson, unused sub for West Brom. And Chidozie Ogbene, another one on the injury list. Callum Robinson, 71 minutes in a 1-1 draw versus Bristol City. And Michael Obafemi not in the squad for Plymouth, and that's the week after they obviously beat Liverpool in the Cup. I thought I'd get that in there. Aaron Connolly, 65 minutes, 1-1 versus West Brom. And Sinclair Armstrong, 72 minutes and in the 1-1 draw versus Cardiff for Bristol City. Tyler Goodrum, 24 minutes in a 2-0 loss versus Portsmouth. And that is the strikers covered. Not a fantastic goal-scoring weekend for our attackers. And lots of injuries probably to worry about as well, and players not in squads. So
I think Dave missed that Tom Cannon is injured. It wasn't that he wasn't picked because I'd be mad, but he had a protective boot on him leaving their game midweek against Middlesbrough. It was, they beat Middlesbrough. He came off at half-time injured and he left with a protective boot on, but there was nothing put out. Well, I haven't checked the last day or two, but on Saturday there was nothing put out about it, so I don't know the update at the moment, but probably it was an ankle injury. I thought Adam Eder scored absolute worldly, which is good to see. He's starting since Kyogo's left. He's starting to embrace the number 9 rule, because even though the Scottish League isn't the highest standard in the world, there's still huge pressure on you as Celtic's number 9 to score goals, which he's starting to show that he can do. And obviously it was unbelievable to see Evan Ferguson back at the weekend. I thought he was excellent when he came on at halftime. Should have got an assist. Could have missed an open goal. His first touch was brilliant. His link-up play was lovely. He had a chance on goal. Obviously, keep him really decent. He'd probably like to run that chance again, but it wasn't a straightforward opportunity. Him and Collins had a very good battle, and when he came on at for West Ham at halftime, you could see a real improvement in West Ham's side when he came on. He was playing with confidence, and he could feel like it looked like he felt like the main man in that side playing up top. Obviously, he has good players around him, which always will help, but it felt like he was the main focal point in that side, and I thought he played very well, and hopefully he can kick on from here, because, as you know, I think he's one of the best young strikers about, and that he has potential to go all the way, and even on a striker that somehow you don't like, but he's my favourite player. Sinclair Armstrong was absolutely brilliant for Bristol City at the weekend since coming back from injury. Started the last 2 games, has been absolutely brilliant. He's probably the scariest striker I think defenders will have to play against. No one wants to play against him. His pace, his power, his work rate, takes men on, and he was absolutely exceptional for Bristol at the weekend. He was probably, like, I've watched a lot of Bristol this season, and they're a terrible team to watch, to be honest with you. They're very, very hard to watch. But at the weekend, he was the only player really that showed that he could make an impact in the game. It was meant to be, they call it the 7-something derby between Bristol City and Cardiff. It's some derby they have there, and there was no intensity to the game at all. Unfortunately, Callum Robinson wasn't in the game at all. Your boyfriend Callum O'Dowd wasn't in the game at all. Actually, Joe Bacon was actually all right. Former 21 international, played well for Cardiff, so he's another option in the left back, but he's playing as the left centre back at the moment. But Sinclair was very good the weekend, which was great to see, and it always helped my propaganda for Sinclair Armstrong. So, you know what I think about what he could add to the Ireland senior squad if he's brought in. But we play the top nations. His pace, his power, his ability on the counter attack is what we probably need as a country when we play these top nations. We've seen with Adamida, hold up play is brilliant. First touch is excellent. But in terms of run channels, there's some games he will do it all day, and then there's some games he looks not ours doing it. So, but I know with Sinclair, you're always going to get that, and he has that.
I think Sinclair will give you that consistently, won't he? And that's something brilliant to have. A little bit like Obafemi kind of has that about him, doesn't he? But not as
he doesn't have that freak. Sinclair has that freak strength, because Obafemi is I know Obafemi, he used to be rapid anyway. I don't know how about his pace like these days, because he doesn't seem to play football anymore. But Sinclair seems to has his head on his shoulders and only wants to get better at football. And obviously, he does need to improve in front of goal and in terms of making the right decisions sometimes. But I've no doubt that he is an asset that we need to bring in. And I just see a comment come in there talk about Irish strikers, not speak about Noonan.
Now.
We were going to speak about this after, actually, and what a moment on Thursday night it was. It was one of the most special nights for an Irish lad we've seen in a long time. It's like to leave some, like, the fact is he really left some pats in the summer because he wasn't going to get game time over Mason Melia and Aidan Keena gone to Rovers. Everyone thought Rovers this season probably wasn't going to get that many minutes because they wanted Meepo. Obviously, Meepo went to Shells. They wanted Afalabi. Afalabi stayed at the club he's in loan with in Holland. And they wanted to bring Johnny Kenny back, which they thought was going to happen. But I think a move fell through with Celtic that he's ended up staying at the club. And then Noonan's got trusted straight into the first team, which was, well, he was going to be in the first team, but in the starting 11. And he was absolutely brilliant tonight. I don't know if you watched the game, Martin, but his hold-up play, his link-up play, getting a player sent off with a lovely touch. He flicked it past the defender. And then the icing on top was scoring the goal. He's the youngest goal scorer in European competition in the modern times. I know someone scored for, it was Anderlecht back in 1990, but in terms of the modern UEFA Cups, he's broken the record. And it's just the exposure Irish football got on Thursday night from that was absolutely, it was everywhere. You've seen Fabrizio Romano tweet about it. You've seen TNT having a graphic made for it. It's like, it's just like, he's an absolutely brilliant footballer, and he's shown, because that was the worry, is like, could he adapt to men's football? Because he made his first start for Rovers in the Conference League before he made his first League of Ireland start, which was at the weekend. So like, it shows the faith Stephen Bradley has in him. So I'm absolutely delighted to see it, because he's a nice fella, very talented footballer, and now he's 16 in a men's environment. which you can't take away from a lad that he will develop so much playing every week now in the League of Ireland.
Yeah, I mean, look, brilliant to see, as you said, the story as well. You know, you see him then going back to school the next day and things like that. Love it, because it just brings so much attention to Irish football. And we do have this habit of, like, you know, even Evan coming in when he was young. You know, we you know, if they're good enough, even if they're young, they just get an opportunity. I think it shows a lot of faith in them, and they must be quite grounded. I think that's something to obviously be very proud of, that he's done that. And yeah, look, I mean, we just went through OBIG there. We talked about the attacking players and said lots of injuries of players who are very familiar to people, but we do have these players coming through, and players who offer something different as well. You know, this is a good comment, I think, from Dean Flood. We'll get to all your comments, of course, but you know, just by the fact Sinclair is massive, he adds something our other strikers don't, and I do agree with that. You know,
Martin, he has a bit of, I know people like to take the piss out of him. The likes of Nicholas Jackson has, Darwin Núñez has, they're just menaces. They're just, no one wants to play against them. I know they miss chances and they're sporadic at times in front of goals, but they do put fear in defenders in terms of their work rate, their running, their pace, their power, their strength. It's obviously, I think Jackson at Chelsea is actually a very good player. Obviously, there's times he misses chances and stuff, but no one wants to play against a player like that. And it opens up room for other defenders, because if Sinclair is constantly running the channels and these big centre backs are chasing after him, or they're dragging a full back across, it leaves space for the likes of Mikey Johnson. If Rocco Vata comes in, Festi if he's fit, or Bennett. I just think when you play against these nations, you need a player like that. I know Evan Ferguson is Evan Ferguson, but I just think Sinclair could add so much. I don't know, like, obviously we play Bulgaria. Bulgaria mightn't be the team, because we're going to have maybe away. It might be they might have a tiny bit more possession, or we might have 51% possession. But when we go to play Portugal away, we go to play Denmark away, or say Denmark beat them, or we go to play even Hungary away, where they're going to have a lot more of the ball. I just think what he could add to his side. We've seen with under 21s, the Italians were absolutely shitting themselves with playing against them, which we never really see with. And they couldn't handle them. And I just think, especially these European countries where they're not used to a physical striker like Sinclair coming up against them. So, like, I don't know if Bristol City is the club for him long term, because they have to play to his strength. But I just think he's such an asset. He's such a different type of player that no one ever plays against. It's like fighting in MMA or fighting in boxing against a style that no one else does. If anyone watches Michael Venom Page, it's when people have to come up against him. His karate style he's the only one who does it, and people can't prepare, and you're there and you don't know what you're doing until you're in the environment. It's kind of what Sinclair is like, because there's so little players that are like him that you never know what you think you know what you have to do to deal with him, and then you don't know what you're doing. But that's my Sinclair rant over.
He's fearless, though. I think is what, you know, like he doesn't like. He's very old school like that, like running power, smash people, can get smashed and just get back up and get on with it, you know. And tactically, like you said, when we are not going to have a lot of the ball, we're going to have an out ball. Basically, the ball can go up to him and probably stick to him. And I think Obafemi, for example, he doesn't offer us that. He loses. Even watching him, that little cameo when he came on when Plymouth were under a lot of pressure against Liverpool. Liverpool had a lot of the ball. When every time it comes to Obafemi, he really struggled, I think, to keep the ball, which is one of the basics you kind of have to have about you. Whereas Armstrong, yeah, he used to be, but like Armstrong, I think will bring that, and like you said, that under 21 experience will help him. I think, yeah, you know, even we tactically, when we played France at home, when Evan Ferguson played up front on his own, which was horrific for him, I thought, you know, everyone's expectations of him. But one thing they had was, you know, the out ball basically was Ogbene, and in the past we have set up like that. Even I think back to Aaron Conley when he had that rapid pace when he first came through, he was the kind of threat on the counter attack. Whereas I think Sinclair definitely offers something there with that, a little bit different to Adamida and Troy Parrott, and you know, you're not going to stop them with their pace and holding up. I think anyway. So
just Martin, and just in terms of, I know we're in a win now mentality coming into World Cup season, but like, why not get these lads involved? Like, it's not even just a thing of what they can add the senior squad now. Get a lad on, get them to make a 20-minute cameo playing well for Ireland. Like, the interest, obviously lads like Sinclair will have interest from those clubs. People will be tracking them from around Europe. But like when you make your senior, I know he's made his debut, but he played a couple of minutes. But if you start to become a regular in an international team, clubs from all around the place will be thinking, this lad's got something. Why don't we look more into him, see if we can get him? Because like I've watched a lot of Bristol City this season. The start of the season, they used to play experience, they used to play balls over the top to them all the time and defeat. Then for a while, they started going to a very possession-based style where it just didn't suit him. And now again, they've started to go back to his strengths, which has adds so much to teams. So hopefully he can just get him in the squad, because like I just think we've so many strikers that want to do the same thing. Like I just think he's just such a different profile there. And I know people still pick your best team, and like just because someone's better technically doesn't mean they're going to add something to our squad that we might be like. Is Tom Cannon going to add something that Evan Ferguson or Troy Powers has? I don't know, because Tom Cannon's getting a lot of slack lately from what he's added to Sheffield United. People saying that he's not getting involved with the play, his whole play is just finishing really. So I'd like to see something. I don't think it's going to happen, but I just think it's so unique in a profile of a player.
No, without doubt. And I think we're like, as I just said, we've gone through OBIG and seen injuries and I think it's an opportunity now for some of these lads to get a chance, basically, with injuries and stuff we've got. So yeah, well done to them. Hoping that
Martin,
we'll
watch Callum Robinson get picked now in March.
That's the thing, like we've consistently known some of these players, and
Martin. Now the thing is, people are saying like Callum Robinson's a decent player, but people be like, oh yeah, he's scoring goals, we'll bring him in. He doesn't offer it, and even when you watch him, he's a good finisher, yes, but he doesn't really offer anything to the game. Like you need to watch, like go back to days where we watch football with our eyes, that we judge the player on how we watch them, not off stats. And like when you watch that game on Saturday, you'd be like, Callum Robinson is getting picked for Ireland before Sinclair Armstrong. I think we need to have a look at ourselves with going with lads like that. Because as much as I think Callum Robinson has offered a lot to Ireland in the past, I think it's time to move on to the lads that are our next generation.
Yeah, and just on Evan, for me, like at West Ham, I love Evan completely. I think Evan will go on a run. I think he'll get one goal there, and then he'll just go and start being a bit prolific. I mean, I think that they've got a bit about him, West Ham, and I think he's just going to be loved there again by with Potter, obviously, and I think we can just see him really being confident now, and I think hopefully a good campaign for him in this next window as well will be brilliant for him. And it's just confidence with these young lads. You have to have faith in them, and I'm hoping he does especially well. Right, we do want to hear from you, the Raw Faithful. Do let us know your comments if you agree with what Connor said there. One player we want to also focus on, Connor, that you like. We both do follow Man United, of course, as well. But this lad, Man United, obviously on a awful run at the moment. Worst since 1974-75, I think it is. So well before I was born. But Jack Morehouse here, on the bench yesterday for Man United. Against Spurs away. Tell us about him.
I think it was I posted the other day what someone else had posted, and I followed up saying that he was traveling with the first team squad. And it was good to see someone he's been in an Ireland under-19 training camp. The problem with him over the last 3-4 years is that he's been injured the whole time, and no one ever really knew what the level of his play was, because like I asked a Man United Ireland underage teammate, I think everyone will know who I'm on about, a United player that plays for Ireland underage, and he said he's just been so lucky with injuries. He's the best player in training every day, so that kind of alerted me more to him to think when he's back playing, I need to see him play more. And he's absolutely brilliant. His ball carrying ability for an academy player is absolutely superb. He picks the ball up in midfield, and he reminds me a bit of like when people remember when Emile Smith-Rowe first broke through at Liverpool. He kind of trips out to the left pocket a bit and just glides past players. I know you can talk about other footballers, but it's kind of that body style that he eases past players, and it kind of looks like he's not trying when he's driving past me. It's like, how's the ball not going to take off him, but the ball's like glued to him. And just on the Ireland situation, because I had a lot of comments on my post saying that, he's born in England. He's going to go play for England. From everything I've been told, he's currently, because he would have went into a training camp, he wouldn't have needed a passport or wouldn't have needed paperwork done because there's no games being played. But I believe as close as last week, his camp was in contact with the FAI about getting all the paperwork sorted and passports sorted for coming into the 21s group in March. You'd hope, obviously, I hope that means that he's fully committed to Ireland. But obviously, when you're born in England and not England have a keen record of poaching lads that, even if they're not considered good enough for England, we'll just take them off, we'll call them up to make sure Ireland stays out of the way for the long term. But no, it's looking very good that he'll be involved in March. Paperwork's being sorted at the moment. Obviously, if it's not done in time, so be it. But you just have to hope England stay away, which at this stage I think they will. Thankfully, I think for an Ireland point of view, he didn't make his debut yesterday because that would put England on more alert if we came on yesterday. But you can see that Ruben Amorim's been very impressed with him. But I just think he will be involved with the 21s in March, and if he's going ahead with the paperwork, getting it all done, it'll be interesting now to see him represent Ireland for the first time in March, because it's been a tough couple of years for him with injuries, and he's finally starting to shine. And obviously he's 20 now, or 19. He needs probably at this stage in the summer to get a first team loan, but I think he'll probably make his debut for United before the end of the season with injuries and how highly rated he is by Amorim. But I guess we'll just have to wait and see and presume he'll be called up in March, because it's looking very likely.
Yeah, of course, the under-21s have got a lot of games in March as well, and then they start their campaign. So a lot of questions and comments actually on the under-21s, which we'll get to. Great to see the interest in the youth. And that brings me on to the under-17s, Connor. Tell us about the under-17s, how they got on last week. While you drink your aqua, like Ronaldo says. Yeah, not that shit. You've been at training tonight. Look, that's not how you refuel. This is...
I will refuel, don't you worry. Don't worry. I'll be taking my electrolytes in the morning and I'll be refueling. No, but what was I going to say, actually? On the 17s, they were in Spain. First game, it was against Finland. The game was streamed, which was good to see, so we got to see it. They dominated the game, to be honest with you. Somehow lost the game 3-0. Dominated the game, at all the big chances, really. But Finland were just more clinical, which can always happen in underage football. And in fairness, a couple of days, no, it wasn't yesterday. Was it yesterday? It was yesterday, sorry. They faced off against Hungary in the second of its pre-qualifiers warm-up games for next month. And 2-0 down in the first 10 minutes. Got it back, went 3-2 up. Then Hungary went 3-3. And then Killian Tolan from Galway United scored the winner in the 87th minute, which was a great moment for these lads going into the qualifiers next month. And when you look at that squad, there's huge amount of talent that was not in the squad for whatever reason, not being let go by their club or were injured. Like Michael Noonan wouldn't have been released because he was with Rovers first team, which is mad. I think Rovers first team players under 17s. Jade Numa, who I think is possibly the best talent we have in Irish football at the moment, made his Europa Youth League debut for Benfica last week. He was the only player in their squad that was born in 2008 that featured. And then Grady McDonald, who recently moved from Club Brugge from Vancouver, wouldn't have been released. Ade Solanke, I believe there's something going on in the background with him that's stopping him from playing at the moment with Ireland, but I can't say it yet. But no, and Oshie McDonough wasn't released by his club. I'm trying to think who else. Vinnie Leonard played the first game. Actually, was a very good thing to see. Vinnie Leonard with Dundalk played the first game with against Finland. Flew back the next day to play for flew back the next day to go play for Dundalk on Friday night and scored the winner, which is a great thing for a 16-year-old to score the winner for Dundalk. And I think Mo Oladidi is injured as well. So no, there's a huge amount of talent in that Ireland 17 team. A lot of lads, I haven't listed every name, but there's 7 or 8 lads that could be considered starters that were missing from last week. And the fact that it still went to, they should have beat Finland based on, I know the loss, but based on possession, how they played, they were the dominant team, and then beat Hungary yesterday, which is a hugely positive sign going into next month's qualifiers, which will be huge. And I think it's a very talented squad. They have a tough group, but they have a huge chance of qualifying. And if all things can click, they could make a run. And hopefully, just all lads are fit, and that because we've seen a couple of years ago with the 17s, Martin, they got to the quarterfinal, and it boosted a lot of those lads' stocks massively, which is the most important thing, is getting out there and getting their name seen with clubs all over Europe and competing with the best players at their age. They can think, no, we want to take this boy on, and we can develop this lad into a top player across Europe.
Yep. There you go. Ask a question, let him go. And that's what you get, all the latest news on Irish football and the players there. Follow Rep Tracker, of course, on Twitter. Fingers in money pies, that lads. He knows everything about these players coming through. Great contacts and great content as usual, Connor. Brilliant. And we've obviously got the under-21s. Excited about that, and a lot of comments, as I said, coming through about the players who are eligible. Obviously, we've got England in our group as well, which is brilliant. And we were talking just before we come on the show, actually, about a possible, that group, Ireland could get some fantastic results, hopefully, in throughout the group, and lead to a key match, as our last game is at Turner's Cross, we would say. But there would be, if that was a key decided game, I think that it would probably suit us playing it in Turner's Cross.
Yeah.
But there would be a clamour to move it to a bigger stadium.
I don't think so.
No?
The Viva Stadium.
He does love it. No, well.
No, did you say Viva or did you say Tala? I don't know what you said. I didn't hear.
No, a bigger stadium. So Tala would be bigger, wouldn't it? Would it?
I think it has to be played in Turner's Cross.
Well, Jim likes Turner's Cross, doesn't he?
Yeah, and they went and played Latvia in Tala, which you remember they drew 2-2, which was the game that messed up their qualifying, because it was on the same day as the Ireland. Who did we play that day? Was it Greece?
Greece, yeah.
It was,
yeah.
And I think Turner's Cross is now the unofficial home of Ireland underage football or under 21 football. It's the atmosphere. In fairness, people down in Cork create a great atmosphere. The kids that go seem to love it. Even you see the little kids chatting, loving, and seeing the stars, because the 21 team is starting to get more and more high profile. You see lads like we've seen Sinclair Armstrong, we've seen Aidan O'Mako, we've seen Boston Haller, household names in Irish football, and people loved going to see him every week. Or Andrew Morney was probably the main attraction. People loved going to see them every so often in Turner's Cross. So I think if we could get it to a stage where it comes down to the last game of the group that we beat England, we top the group, which is a viable possibility, because we finally got a bit of luck in the 21s group, because it seems that we used to get the hardest possible group every year. So even as a pot 2 team, so it would be absolutely brilliant if we could have, because I know Turner's Cross would definitely sell out for that, and the stadium would be rocking. I think that's what you want, is a smaller pitch, tight knit environment where you're on top of the players, and the Irish players would be thriving off it, and it would be everyone. I think it would be a huge moment for Irish football. Like, you could easily go play it in the Aviva Stadium, because England will have Premier League players, and or play it in Talis. No, I just think you have to play it in Turner's Cross and take away the financials away from it. It's about getting these lads in the long run. Will they benefit more to have a chance of beating England in Turner's Cross? I think so.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just looking. The only thing around that, I think that is it's around the same time. But we would possibly, I think it's on the 14th, isn't it? In November, I think the last game, and that is the Thursday. We will be at home to Portugal or Denmark. Yeah, the senior squad.
Martin,
so that's just something.
Martin.
Yep.
Read the year.
What?
Read the year that England game.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, sorry. All right.
You're a year ahead of yourself.
I'm a year ahead of myself. Sorry. Yeah. Look at me trying to be clever. I'm trying to be really clever with mine. I'm trying to plan trips of games that don't even exist.
So you're advanced. You get the flights booked for
there you
November.
Go. Well, there you go.
It'll be I think the away game against England is in November, actually. This November, I believe.
That's what I'm probably talking about.
No, you're not. I think you're just talking about you just said on the
qualifiers. No, it is. You know what it is? It is because that's what I was looking at, and we were talking. Let's be honest. We spoke about where England would be playing, because this is where my official demand is that they play it in Brentford Stadium in London, please. That'd be fantastic for me, or even Vicarage Road. They have played some under-21s there before. That would be very handy for me as well. And I think a couple of years ago, the stadium manager for Brentford, definitely in the lockdown time, was an Irishman. Little random fact there for you.
I don't think that would affect the game, to be honest with you, but that's a great fact. 900 people watching to know, but no, it would be.
972.
The under-21s football always gets me very excited because it's always good to see the stars of the future, and they're a brilliant sight to be watched, to be honest, and make you proud to be Irish watching them because you see them before the match and all 11 players start and they're all singing the national anthem no matter who they are, and I think that sort of stuff brings out that pride in being Irish, and you always want to see the lads do well. So as you know, I was heartbroken after they didn't qualify.
Oh no, yeah.
And I still haven't got it over it
now. Very upset about it now. Once you get to start you off.
When the tournament starts in the summer, I'll be like, how are these lads not here? But no, move on, and we have a huge year of Irish football to be excited for.
Right, just before we go on, there's a little bit of news I'm going to come up with, and then we're going to get onto your comments. But first of all, Lansdowne Raw. Make sure you follow Lansdowne Road on Facebook and us on Twitter as well, and all the socials. We're there. Lots of content, lots of back episodes as well. The League of Ireland show, where the lads went through a bit of a preview of the League of Ireland, obviously started last week. Fantastic to see that. So yeah, and there will be another League of Ireland show out tomorrow that Connor and David are going to do. And I'm just going to throw up once again this ad. We do want your involvement, the Raw Faithful. We are Irish football's most interactive podcast and show. We have a YouTube channel, we have a podcast, we have a website, and we want your involvement. We know that some Irish fans have got some amazing stories and are also very good writers as well. We want to hear your stories, whether you're interested in anything to do with Irish football. We want to add you to our writing group. So I'm going to play this little ad again just to give Dave a bit of coverage so he doesn't feel out of the loop tonight. But here you go. Just have a watch of this.
How's it going? David Dunn here from Lansdowne Roar, and I am calling out to anybody who wants to write about Irish football. That's right. If you want to write for Lansdowne Roar at lansdowneroar.ie and join our fantastic writers group over there, this is a great opportunity for you. It is a voluntary position, no experience required. However, all we ask is for you to be passionate and consistent, and also be able to string 2 cents together. Sorry, Martin, that leaves you out. It can be any level of Irish football that you want to talk about: men's, women's, seniors, juniors, League of Ireland, the school league, anything at all that you want to express yourself about. This is for you. If you are an aspiring sports journalist, it's also a fantastic opportunity for you. We do have a wide reach. Of course, we have a stream every week, as you're probably watching this on now. So it's a great way to get yourself exposed in a positive way. If you want to get in contact, pod@lansdowneroar.ie. Also Connor at lansdowneroar.ie, David at lansdowneroar.ie, Martin at lansdowneroar.ie. Or you can head over to our Facebook, our Instagram, or our Twitter, and you can contact us directly. Not a problem, and we'll get you sorted there. Apply below now.
There you go. Yeah, so if you do want to get involved with Lansdowne Raw, please do contact us, make a comment, contact us on DM or anything like that, what Dave just said. So we will get back to you in due course. And yeah, we want to welcome your interaction with the show. And of course, just want to also say thank you this evening for your comments, which we will get through now. Just a couple of little things to add. Obviously, the women are heading off to Tala for their opening game of their Nations League. They've got Turkey on Friday. I've seen that Tony O'Donoghue was in camp with a little chat with Aoife Mannion, and the story that's not going away is this criticism of the FAI basically on how they dealt with Eileen Gleeson and Colin Healy's ending of their contracts. Aoife Mannion, another one who's disappointed in that, joining Denise O'Sullivan on that. Any comments on that, Connor? Is the story just not going to go away? I mean, I just don't know what the expectation is of the women's team basically on this. I can't see what they want to see.
I'm sick to death of it, to be honest with you. It just drives me bananas. It's just drama after drama. I know it's the same thing, but like, come on, we need to move on. Get on. Embrace, like, Carla Ward's in new manager. Should be excited about a new reign coming in. Eileen Gleeson's reign, as much as the Nations League went well, the qualifiers were a complete disaster. Like losing to Wales, having the home advantage with what tie was 1-1 going into the second leg, and like, you can't be making excuses. Obviously, the Colin Healy situation, we'd like to take Colin Healy's word for what he said, but I don't think Eileen Gleeson, did she make any comments about being wrongfully dismissed or no? Because like, I just think move on. Like, what does this show to the new staff and management that's coming in, that they're trying to build a culture for Irish football for the future and trying to get Ireland back to another World Cup, which if we look back in time, Eileen Gleeson's record will be zero tournaments qualified for us. So like nothing against her in the slightest, because she hasn't done anything wrong, but just move on, because Martin, I'm just sick of it, to be honest. It's like, how many dramas can we have in one group of players? And just like, love playing for your country. Obviously, you can make, but like, we don't as much. I'd imagine a lot of the men's players might think the same about the FAI in some contexts, but we don't see them constantly calling them out over the silliest or the smallest little things. So I think it's just time to move on. I don't know whether it was just that she was asked about it and she felt obliged to comment on it at the time, but whether it's the media or whether it's the players, just move on.
It just is a bit boring now, like you said. Like, have the standard answer that, just say, look, we all as players, we've commented on it enough now. We want to move on. We want to help Carla Ward settle into the role, and progress and focus on the next campaign. I think, it does strike me a very opinionated squad. I know you've got big characters and they've obviously done very well with an Irish shirt over the years, and I'm not knocking them for that. It's been amazing seeing them at the World Cup, of course, but it just does make me feel uncomfortable. You want to support Irish football, of course, at all levels, but even the Vera Powell thing, I think there'll be a lot to come out with from that, still in time, because I think they're just, when these retirements happen, and again when this other generation, probably someone are still in there, they'll, if it is going to be enough of a story, I think we just need to know a little bit more on that. I think it's, Vera Powell, that didn't strike well with me at all at the end, and player power, whatever it was, and you kind of want to get behind the women, of course, but I think there's a really, really good nucleus of players coming through there, some young Irish talent coming through, and I think they just don't need to be stained with all this association with failed campaigns or managers and coaches let go. Just get on it, get over it, basically, is my view. Right, we're going to go through the comments this evening, and obviously the context of this, we've been having a good chat now for just over an hour, so thank you. We're up to 1,000 viewers, so thank you very much for your support this evening. Obviously the context of this, comments have been flying in all evening, and this is where we get to them now. So context reasons, a lot of people will be saying stuff in relation to something we may have said an hour ago, but we'll obviously clarify that as we go through. So a nice one earlier from Baylor, who says, we hate Rovers, everybody hates Shamrock Rovers.
It's actually a good tune, to be honest. It's actually a good flowing tune. It actually, I know I don't hate Shamrock Rovers, but it's just a good tune. I don't know if you ever hear the fans sing it, but it's a good song.
Go for them. What's the tune? What's the tune? Go on, Connor. Don't be shy.
No, I'm not, because people will get disappointed at me.
All right, everyone hates the best, so there's Dean Flood, and the best at getting outshone on the big stage. So lots of League of Ireland chat there, and do follow the lads as they do their latest show, which is coming out tomorrow. Here we go, Nick the lads. There you go. Thanks again, watching, Nick. Zed Lepelin. What's the background of the young Irish lad on United's bench? We had a chat about him earlier.
Nobody said. I think it's the background. I think it means what's his.
Oh yeah,
I believe he has 2 Irish grandparents.
Okay, which is good. There you go. He does qualify. Yeah, we're trying to find out a little bit more on him from some other contacts as well. No Ross Tierney in your League of Ireland FLP. Connor is crazy. There you go. This is we have.
Do you know who we have a league? We'll talk about it actually on the show itself about how people get on. But I had a terrible start, to be honest with you. I regret not putting Ross Tierney in, but I just thought because of Rovers first weekend it wouldn't be worth it. But I honestly, I don't know who Connor is with 2 N's. I don't know what Connor with 2 N's.
Oh right, yeah.
Here we go.
Paul Cullerton here with the fixtures for the under-21 campaign just being announced. Surely Jim Crawford is trying to recruit some new players with the likes of Leighton Orient, Sonny Perkins, and Burton Albion Charlie Webster. And he goes on to say, don't know if any of you saw Ken Early article in today's Irish Times saying that more people are interested in the League of Ireland now than in the national Ireland national team. What do you make of this?
I think it comes and goes. Like, it's just nothing going on with the national team at the moment. Like, I think when the World Cup qualifiers come around, if we qualify World Cup, it'd be mayhem in the country. But no, but the thing is, it's no longer the side thing, the thing in the side that people laugh at. The League of Ireland is now a very respected thing that people love, and it's good that we can now say that that's even an argument. I do think at the moment the League of Ireland is a bigger thing than the Irish national team, it's nothing to do really with the national team. It's just how well the League of Ireland is going. It shouldn't be a thing that because the national team is poor and the League of Ireland. It's because the League of Ireland is doing so well. So and just on them dual eligible lads, I could imagine them sort of thing is going on in the background. I don't know particularly on Sonny Perkins or Charlie Webster, but I could imagine. I know there was talk in the past about Sonny Perkins saying that he was interested in playing with Ireland and they'd spoke to them. His dad, Declan, has played for Ireland at underage levels, so I would be surprised at this stage if Sonny Perkins didn't represent Ireland at some stage at the 21s.
Okay. There you go. Ask the questions, Connor knows the answers. And Paul Cullerton again with a lovely message for me, just me. Cheers for the great show, lads. I think lad, he should mean just me. And then Baylor, did he spin quite overlooked, Prendy, in my opinion. There you go. Just still going, banging that drum. Dean Flood, Heimer is right, though. I love our league. This is in relation to Stephen Bradley being critical of Heimer. About how, saying Irish players should consider moving, basically, back in December. Heimer's right, though. I love our league, but the League of Ireland is not yet at the level to send players to the national team. So we had a chat about that earlier. I saw a journalist, this is from Dean Flood, say Michael Noonan and Dylan Watts should get in the national team, but over who? It's a bit early, though, isn't it, there? I mean, look, they're very young players. And
like Michael Noonan's way behind Mason Mealy in the pecking order for Ireland. Obviously, he had a great debut, but I think that's over exaggerating there. And Dylan Watts, absolutely brilliant player, was the best player in the league last season. But it's just like, could you put them in the squad over? Like when lads, it's not even just off football. It's like the level of play. I say adapting to the intensity of international football. If you're coming from the League of Ireland, it's a big step. But Dylan Watts is an absolutely brilliant player.
And then regular viewer Martin Fitzpatrick, good to see you watching along this evening. Parrot has to start in March. I've done very well, obviously, over in Holland, of course, and consistently banging in the goals there. Jeff Kane, Bradley is right. The talking down of Irish football has had a long-term drastic effect. It damages funding. Even the Baltic states have higher media rights deals, so no development. No money means no coaching. UEFA coaching numbers at the same level as Andorra and Luxembourg. I mean, yeah, look, we're well aware that the lack of money in Irish football, sadly. And, I was actually looking at, different coaching badges and what the costs are for things, UEFA A, B, C. And it's just interesting, like the contrast in that of the costs of doing UEFA A license in different countries, is incredible. But I think a lot of the Irish lads obviously do it for the FAI courses. Whether they're fast tracked or not, I don't know. But you see them, the kind of candidates qualifying or graduating, I suppose, and you see some ex-Irish players, obviously, who've done very well doing those courses, and you'd hope they're going to get back to Irish football. So, look, we do need more coaches. We need more development. You need more. The infrastructure isn't there at the moment. Even, we could argue all day about the facilities and training grounds and dual purpose grounds. That's just common in football, though, isn't it? All over, and that's a big shortage of London as well, even where I live. So that's just where we are with it. It all comes down to investment. And sadly, my view of it, speaking as a kind of grassroots coach, is, the money doesn't filter down. Like we end up, the people who are volunteering their time for coaching and giving their time up, and kids and parents bringing their kids to training and stuff, you're paying for it, whereas the money's all at the top end of the game. And we're probably the ones that you need us in a sense, I think. So that's just football, I suppose. Adam Curtis has a question here. Will Conor Coventry ever get an opportunity in the first team squad? Do you think he could be an answer to the holding midfield position, or number 6, as people call it now? For you, Conor.
If he stops playing in League One, I think he made his 50th appearance for Charlton at the weekend, but no, he needs to get out of Charlton if he wants to get in the Ireland. In fairness, he actually came into the squad late, if you remember, for that England game, but he was never going to play, and he's not at the level right now because he's not playing at the right level, at club level, to make it for Ireland. So I could see him doing very well going down the Josh Cullen route of when he went to Anderlecht. So with Coventry, you'd hope one day, but like, he needs to get out of Charlton if he wants to, unless they magically get promoted, which I don't think will happen.
And a comment here from Aidan Corbett. Agree with Conor, and this is when you were talking about Irish players going off to foreign countries to develop as footballers. Agree with Conor. That's why it's great to see Irish lads now going to the likes of Benfica, Strasbourg, Reims, Hoffenheim, etc. So that's just another one praising you, Connor. So, but yeah, that is, as I've said, do give Connor a follow at Rep Tracker. Fantastic job there, following all the Irish players, seeing where they're up to and how they're getting on. It's a full-time job, of course, so it does give us some fantastic comment for the show. Well, lads, says Kieran McDonald, I've seen some things on Twitter about Ivory Coast being interested in Conor Doherty. Surely no chance of that happening.
No, I don't think so.
Reversing the flag, you know,
No,
just the
I
flag
think
there. It's the only thing would
Yeah.
be.
I think the thing is, when lads are eligible for African countries, even if they have an interest in going there, a lot of them it's just playing in the likes of AFCON in the middle of a club season when clubs use that against you when you go to sign for them, or you can go. Have we seen with Nigeria and Libya? Have we seen the summer about the treatment they got when they were in the airport? And it's just a lot of players, just as much as if they even want to represent Nigeria through their heritages or through Ivory Coast, it's still a lot of lads are very anti. I think it's more likely we'd ever see Conor Doherty in a Northern Ireland shirt than would in a Ivory Coast shirt. Although he's a Catholic from Derry, it's not going to happen unless he's not good enough for Ireland. But no way. I think that's just better talk, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, look, I mean, African football is just nuts. That, you know, I think back to some of the old school listeners, if we do have any on this evening, you know, Chris Hughton, obviously was eligible to, you know, on the back of his father, obviously, to take on the Ghana job, was approached because of that, very proud to do so. But, you know, he confided in a few of us at Risk London because he was a former club president of us, and in contact with a lot of our members and stuff. But just that, it was absolutely bonkers. That was, you know, people not getting paid to train in pitches, things like that. Absolute crazy. And you know, it's in the middle of the season, and I think it's attractive maybe later on in some people's career when they haven't had an international career, if they're eligible that way. But I think he'd be wasting his talent really going there now, unless he does feel that strong allegiance. Martin Fitzpatrick, obviously this is in relation to Shells and the Tolka Park blackout. Shells didn't pay the electricity bill, obviously. I have actually been at a football match where I was at Fulham once, where at Man United, and there was a blackout, which is quite unique, I suppose. Dean Flood, I'm hoping the Rovers Europe run shows more European teams that Irish players are worth a punt, something like a top Belgium or Swiss team, which is a good level to still play international football.
Totally agree.
And then we've got Kevin O, who does Doherty have to start in Bulgaria? This is obviously Matt Doherty, who we spoke earlier about doing a great interview with Off the Ball, and speaking about how it feels he's playing very well at the moment, defending very well, especially. So I think it depends on Seamus Coleman, doesn't it, really?
I just don't think he can't say, because Jacob Bryan's doing well at Everton as a right back,
Yeah.
so I don't think you can say he has to start, but I think we'll at least say he has to be in the squad. But no, I wouldn't say he's not a nailed on starter. Like, it's not like saying Keller has to start in goal. It's if Hyber sees he's the right man, fair enough.
And then Baylor, is Bazunu not struggling a bit in Belgium? We spoke about that a little bit earlier. Probably is a little bit, but he's getting minutes, so we're quite happy with that. And Dean Flood, in response to that, only been 2 games, hard to judge yet. And Adam Curtis says Bazunu is just down to match fitness. Quick question here on Mark McGuinness, who we obviously, as I said earlier, thought played quite well in the game at Wembley against England. If Luton go down, will McGuinness leave? Again, one of our very promising centre backs. We're very blessed there.
They paid 10 million for him in the summer. I think they paid 10 million for centre back, and they could get relegated. It's pretty mental. It's been a mental year for Luton Town, and I'd imagine so. But it's not a good look for centre half to get relegated with a team that was expected to fight for promotion. But I don't know. Would he get a move? Would a team play? Would they want to recoup that 10 million, or would they just want to keep him at the club straight back up? But it's not been a good season for Luton, although McGuinness has been very good at times. It's interesting now to see how he's looked at now in the Ireland picture.
And then we've got Nick saying Abankwah was so good this week, which is a
fact.
Yeah, very good. And right, Connor, you can pronounce this one. You got it right.
Pauline the Morn. Is it
There you go.
Pauline? Is it?
Pauline
Is it
Moran.
well,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's Gaelic anyway, so I'm not too sure.
Yeah. Okay. You got it right. Probably just about me being such a fantastic presenter and host this evening. Dean Flood, will Matt even start for us? Because we don't use a back three, and I don't see him being a centre back over any of our other options. So a little bit of chat about Matt Doherty on here. And then Jeff Kane, Heimer's contract is up in December this year. You mentioned 2 years, but it was only a 17-month contract from July 24. Will he get an extension? What do you think? Well, it is up to the end of the qualifying campaign.
Yeah. Well, they spoke of it like it was a 2-year deal, which is I meant to say from when it started, but obviously it was 17 months. But no, I don't think we can make a comment on it yet, Jeff, to be honest, because if we qualify for the World Cup or if we are in a playoff place next March, I think people will probably say he deserves a shot for the Euros because we finished out of Hungary, which is a lot of people expect us not to do. I'd be confident that we will do it, but I'm just too overly confident at times. But no, I think if he finishes top 2 in this group, he'll get a new contract. If he doesn't, he won't.
You would hope, though, with these contracts, and like there's been so much more focus now on the FAI with contracts and discussions and things like that. You would hope there's kind of it's like performance related. You'd hope there's kind of a deal that's kind of done. Like, so for example, if this is quite interesting. If you think back to 2002 World Cup, Mick McCarthy done the World Cup diary, obviously the side panel, that kind of stuff was in it. But Mick McCarthy's agent negotiated his contract just after Ireland qualified, and there's a incredible stat I think actually Mick mentions in his book from then was that I think nearly 50% of the managers who were in that World Cup in 2002 were no longer in their jobs 6 months after. That just happens. But the contracts they all was just before renewed, just before the tournament starts. That's how it often works. That's why you see some of these, especially these African countries as well, you see them walking away, don't you, having fallouts and stuff because it comes down to money. So you'd hope, though, that Ireland have done something here that, if that we're not left with a manager who's kind of qualified for us and then we're over a barrel of money and stuff. You'd hope there's a performance related kind of deal on that contract. So, and we hope obviously he gets there. Quick question here, Dean Flood. What's the crack with John being dropped?
Just drop. Simple as, like.
Yep. Owen Brosnan, favourite Van Nistelrooy goal. I think there's that. We were chatting about Van Nistelrooy recently on the pod. Too many, but the Fulham one was brilliant. But then, yeah, there's loads of goals. Van Nistelrooy. Amazing. Ferguson played well when he came on, said Nick, and yeah, we agree with that. Did play very well. We all think he's going to go on a bit of a run. Well, I'm hoping he will. And Adam Curtis says Ferguson should have had an assist, but Kudus skied it. And Nick also says about we did go back and talk about OBIG earlier about our strikers, that Armstrong would offer more than Cannon. We've also spoken again. This is another comment on that. Just by the fact Sinclair is massive, he has something our other strikers don't. And that's just obviously the speculation. Do we think he will get in the squad, Sinclair Armstrong? Hasn't scored a senior goal for Ireland though, has he?
He's only played what?
He's only played a couple of times.
5 minutes against Holland.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah. But you'll be clamoring for Didsey soon. That kind of stat. And this is a good message here from Liam Hewitt. Looking forward to the new international season. Positive about seniors going in right direction and hopeful we can get second in the group. Yeah, I think we all share that sentiment. And obviously we'll be following the March games as well to see the outcome of that. Obviously Denmark, Portugal as well. So we know who we have. That'll be one eye on that, I suppose. Rovers, Ireland, number 1. There you go, from David H. And this is a little bit of chat now about the under-21s. So with the under-21s in the draw they've been given, we really have to be finishing second at a minimum. And who knows, maybe pushing for first. Thoughts. Covered that a little bit earlier, but yeah, look, we're quite confident that second should be achievable, shouldn't it, in that squad? In that group.
Slovakia will be the third best team, but like they're hosting this tournament, so we don't know what they were like. We don't know what their squad is currently like for this current campaign, but you could imagine that with the talent Ireland have at underage setup at the moment, that you'd expect Ireland to finish second in that group. And I think not finishing second in this current group would be considered a failure, because it gets to a stage where you just have to start performing and getting the places where we should be finishing for the level of talent in the squad. So no, we should be finishing second at a minimum.
And Liam Hewitt also follows up with also the under-21s could be very interesting to you. What do you think of Trent, Conor Doherty, and Melia? We spoke about them in the past, obviously. We're
just
confident they're going to do well.
Yeah, two very talented players. Yeah.
And Nick makes a comment a little bit, I think, in relation to Sinclair Armstrong talk, just that Mikel Antonio was great like that. And then Patrick Kelly praising me, as usual, lads. Another super show. Well done and keep up the excellent work. Yeah, we're here every week doing live streams. We also focus on the League of Ireland. So do give us a follow and subscribe. Follow Connor at Rep Tracker, Lansdowne Raw for me, and also at PrunDM, I think I am. All of my dodgy Twitter handles. And obviously the Facebook page as well. So yeah, thank you for your support. Over 1,000 watching on Monday night. We do appreciate that. And looking for writers. We're going to have a lot of stuff coming up, obviously around the window. We'll be doing a preview show for the games in Bulgaria and in Dublin, and we'll also be focusing on the squad announcement as well when that comes out, which is probably believed to be about the 13th week before the game. So yeah, looking forward to that, and we'll have it all covered here and want your feedback as the Raw faithful to let us know if Heimer's got it wrong or who he's missed out, or are you upset by who he's picked. So yeah, we want to hear from you, and do keep loyal to the show and make sure you do subscribe and follow us on the YouTube. Another comment about the under-21s from Adam Curtis. I could be mad saying it, but I think the under-21s could have a good chance beating England under-21s, especially with how they performed the last campaign. Jim Crawford has them playing very possession-based. So, yeah, look, don't upset Connor too much talking about the last campaign with the under-21s. Still not really over it. We've been close on so many occasions now with the under-21s, and yeah, I'm like Connor. I want to see us competing on the international stage at that. I think it will just do so much for our confidence and even the future senior squad. When you've got a tournament behind you, it just underage, and we used to be really good at that. It does help you so much. So yeah, and yeah, I for one, I'm very happy that Jim Crawford stayed on. He knows the role, knows what the job is with the under-21s, that he's developing players. So I think that's fantastic as well. Tony Herbert here. Hi lads, heard a rumor about Newcastle's Jacobs Murphy declaring for Ireland in time for the Bulgaria game. I think it started on another podcast. Did you hear that? And in addition, any update on Sirkin? He will be cutting it fine. Is Joe Bagan at Cardiff good enough to do a job at left back? Slancher, Tony in LA. So thank you for watching from LA, Tony. So
I don't think Jacob Murphy's eligible. There's been stuff about that he said himself he's not eligible, that he doesn't have an Irish parent or grandparent, so I couldn't imagine that he actually is eligible. From as far as I'm aware, he's not eligible, but you never know. But I feel like that podcast could be talking waffle. Prendy, do you think to see him? And no updates in Circon. I don't think we're going to get any updates in Circon until next month, until we hear if he's in the squad or not, and then questions will come from that. And then Joe Bagan's been very well at the moment. He's kind of playing as a left centre half, but it's just what I don't know if Heimer thinks he's good enough to play over. Is he better than Callum Woodard or Ryan Manning or Robbie Brady? I don't know. So interesting to see what the left back situation will be. Hopefully Circon in, and if Bagan comes in and he's considered good enough, that's a positive step.
Okay. Yeah, thanks Tony for watching from LA. Brilliant. See, we have a bit of international flavour here with Lansdowne Raw. We're popular all over the world. And it was great to see so much chat tonight about the under-21s, which is brilliant to see the interest in it, to be honest. The 21 should be interesting. Hopefully get to see the likes of Melia and Trent making debuts at that level, and hopefully the games are down at the Cross too. Turner's Cross for people outside of Cork. Yeah, good little stadium that. I've enjoyed it when I was there before. And at Banqua, Murphy, Curtis, O'Mahony, the 21s have a great chance. So yeah, and Liam Hewitt is in full agreement to that, which is great. So yeah, thanks for your interaction this evening. It's amazing to see. Again, Dean Flood, do we think about a Banqua could be stepped up to the senior? Do we not think? Abankwah could be stepped up to the seniors. Connor, you'd have him in there, would you?
I don't know if I'd have him in there yet or not, because he could easily step up and like he can play right back, play centre back, probably play left back if you want him to. But I don't know if we'd step him up just yet. But I'd have nothing against it.
Yeah. And then I think Liam Hewitt just saying that he thinks that Abankwah would be better playing for the under-21s, and he does like what he's seen of him in the last campaign, which is great. Yeah, lots and lots of chat between you all tonight, which is fantastic. Depends on where he's at after the summer, but unless he's going to play, might be better for be one of the leaders amongst the under-21s. And yeah, it's great to see again. As I said, a lot of excitement about the under-21 team. So yeah, wish them the best of luck. Just talk about Morehouse, who was on the bench for Man United the other day. Jeff Kane thinks he will probably play for England like Rice and Grealish. Agents don't like lads playing for Ireland. More money as an English international. Yeah, there's a fact of that. And one of the things I know the FAI did years ago, and Stephen Kenny was quite proactive in doing, and there was a big movement of it, like Mark O'Toole, who works with like finding eligible players, obviously underage. It was just, making sure that lads are coming into the camps early, underage, and feeling part of it and feeling Irish, and being welcomed despite what their background will be, even if they're an English accent or wherever it is. And that's me saying that, of course. But feeling welcome, feeling part of it, representing Ireland, knowing that they have the proud history of that with their families or whatever. So I think that's important. And you're always going to have the danger of England, if they're eligible for different countries, you're always going to have that over the shoulder, really. So we've just got to make them kind of fall in love with it and have a positive experience and just perform as well. It is results business, of course, and positive experience, qualifying for tournaments, which we can do, and then that's it. Aidan Corbett, in relation to that, really, a question of a player really wants to play for Ireland, wouldn't they have their passport already? Not necessarily. That's not always the case. It can be difficult with lots of people eligibility to get that all in order. I mean, that's going back in the day as well with Irish players, of how they were eligible.
It can be quite difficult, Brendy, at times for lads who are, because if it's not coming through the FAI, it can be more of a drawn out process that they're waiting months and months and they're thinking, what's the point of me getting the passport ready now? But I know some players do have it in advance. Like, Jacob Devaney from Man United has had his sorted over the last year or so to be ready for whenever you got to call up. But no, I think it just depends on the player. I'm not 100% sure whether Moore cut off a passport or not. I know he definitely, it's just paperwork that still needs to be done. But I'd imagine passport is part of that as well. But I wouldn't say 100% he doesn't have a passport. But from what I've heard in terms of it's just paperwork, I'd imagine passport comes with that.
Yeah, look, it is difficult now. You've got to have citizenship first of all. You've got to prove what your right is to that. And I know that just from experience with like my kids. In a way, I have to get information from how they would qualify to be Irish through my dad. It would be, but yeah, and you have to provide like certificates and things. And sadly, it goes back to even history as well, like just records being kept in Ireland. Are they accurate all the time as well? So it's just finding all that paperwork and presenting it, and big backlogs of things like that. Brexit hasn't helped with that, but this is something that you would think underage players who often go with if they're at Man United, for example, they are traveling around to underage tournaments and stuff, will need a passport. And if they're in England, they're probably traveling on a British passport if they're eligible for that. So it wouldn't have been a necessity to have an Irish one at the moment. So then if you're trying to get one of those, you have, because you're eligible, of course, you have to go for a bit of a rigmarole to do it. So it's not all simple, but and I think back to that old age argument, I don't think we can afford to dismiss anybody who is eligible and feels Irish. Liam Hewitt, did you see United 18s destroyed Chelsea 18s 5-1? Jacob Devaney, captain, was supposedly outstanding.
Yeah, that was FAU's Cup, and as we know, it's the most prestigious tournament probably across Europe for underage players. So no, great to see captain United in it and batter Chelsea, which is always positive to see this on a winning side, and had a brilliant game. So a player with a huge future and will be key for the 19s next month in the qualifiers, which they have a great chance in.
Well, do you know where that was played, that game?
It was at
It wasn't up.
it was that thingy. What do you call it? The ground they have that the women's team played.
Yeah.
Because
Because there was uproar actually. A lot. That was one of the cuts of Man United at Ineos. Is that normally they would play at Old Trafford, and it is prestigious. Obviously, Man United are the most
Leeds
winning
Sports
team of
Village.
the youth club.
That's what it's called. Sorry.
Yeah, but there was a lot of uproar with that. That was cuts basically. United just showing how the Ineos era is continuing. Oh yeah, thank you, Liam Hewitt, just confirming that. But yeah, I did read that was a bit of uproar with that. Not popular with the club, Man United. A lot of the old school people there. Jacob Murphy would be a cracking addition, says John. And then Jeff Kane, it's the FAI, the failure and drama will be endless. And then that's just Liam Hewitt, a final comment there, stating that it was at Leeds Sports Village. So thank you for your comments this evening. Do appreciate it. Anything to add, Connor? We missed out anything notable this evening?
No, just there's a lot of comments there tonight talking about different variety of things of Irish football, which is good to see that people have a key interest in everything. So no, it was a good stream tonight now, Prendy, and it seems people seem to enjoy it anyway. But Dave, as per usual, it seems to always get a lot more positivity in the comments. I won't say why, but no, it was a good show now, Martin.
Yeah, no, really enjoyed it. Thank you again for just over 1,100 watching this evening. You can get back all our past episodes as well on our YouTube channel. Do check those out. We've done some fantastic interviews over the years as well. Learn about a bit of Irish football history as well. We've had some interviews with Ian Hart, Clinton Morrison, Alan Kelly at our show that we did last year. So we do want to hear from you as well. We're here weekly on this show. You can follow us on all our socials, of course, at Rep Tracker for Connor, at Lansdowne Raw for Lansdowne Raw, of course, and Facebook group for Lansdowne Road. And we're also, as we've said as well, we've put the advert out a few times now. We're looking for writers for our podcast, our website even. God, it is an end to the show that's gone a bit nuts here. But no, really do appreciate your support this evening. It's been great to see so much involvement. And again, I think it just emphasised that the future of Irish football is bright. We're talking about a lot of under 21 players tonight who are eligible and this campaign that's starting, of course, in March as well. They've got a few friendlies. So that's great. And as I said, we will be here following the Irish team throughout 2025. Got lots and lots of plans for the show and for our website, merchandise, all sorts of things. The lads are going off to Bulgaria. I'm not able to go to that one. But yeah, we'll be at all the games throughout the year, covering it from the press box. And we've got a few surprises along the way as well. So thank you for your support. It really, really is appreciated. Make sure you do subscribe to the show and the page. Again, that's really appreciated as well. It does help us if you like and share the little algorithms and stuff with this. And we are looking for sponsors as well, because we do have a fantastic reach, over nearly 70,000, I think, between all our groups and pages. So we have a lot of interaction with Irish football
more than
fans.
70,000, Brendan.
It is more than 70. Sorry.
We've won way over 100,000. Thank you very much.
Have.
Don't be disrespecting yourself like that.
There you go. See, I don't do any of that stuff. I just get roped in to present a fantastic show when Dave can't be asked. But no, thank you all for this evening. Really great to have your company, and thank you, Connor, for yours as well.
Thank you,
and for your insight in our Irish
Liam,
football.
for that. Thank you, Liam, for
Great
that.
work, lads. Keep it up.
Thank you.
Lovely
Liam.
end to it. Great work, lads. Keep it up. Cheers. Yeah, thank you, Liam. Appreciate that. And we're going to leave it there. Thank you, and good night, and God bless.